What is up, guys? Welcome on back to TK's Garage. And I hate, well, actually, you know, I'm petty. I like making these videos, but I've tried my best not to make videos about this specific person. I'm trying to be the better person and just let that shit go and you know, see what happens. But when like YouTubers consistently call out, and I feel like I feel like this individual is calling out myself and OC Motivator and Butter the Insider, because we're the ones, and not just me, but Rich Rebuilds and others, because we're talking about the facts or the problems with the Dodge Charger Daytona and how much of a piece of shit that car is. And put your money where your mouth is. Yeah, that's the kind of video we're getting into today. Perfect. So what is up, guys? Welcome on back to TK's Garage. I don't get any pleasure out of making this video, because I feel like every time I gotta mention this dude, like I'm giving in more clout and giving him more views or attention. Now, one thing I can say for sure is my analytics speak for themselves. He's not going to be able to come in the comments or say anything and be like, oh, TK's using my name to try to get more views. I already get more views than you monthly. Go to Social Blade and look it up. This guy's got 500,000 subscribers plus, and I'm talking about Auto Auction Rebuilds, Randy, old friend. And full backstory on that, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't have to get into the details, but YouTube had an error where, like, comments weren't posting, and I went after his friends at David Stanley for screwing over an active duty Air Force airman on a vehicle. And, you know, Randy, in his great magical thought process, you know, thought like I limited. He was a moderator on this channel, by the way, so your comments don't get not listed, right? It's your comment would automatically post, but he didn't see his comment. He cried like the little baby that he is, made a comment and was like, I'm out of here, and then, you know, proceeded to block me on social media and do whatever. That's fine. That shows a lot about the credibility of the person and things of that nature, but we don't have to get into that. What I'm going to get into is, you know, he's been taking these little subliminal shots. So I'm not taking subliminal shots. I'm saying it to his motherfucking face. Look, he's saying, oh, you can't do videos about a car unless you buy it. You gotta put your money where your mouth is. Speaking of money, this dude has to be the most absolutely friggin' retarded person in life when it comes to car deals. And I have to be honest here. I have to call it where it is. You don't take a vehicle, and we're going to cover the whole thing before I get into the car and why I can say whatever the fuck I want about that car. But you don't take a car like, you don't take a truck like he had with the Ram Rebel that had nothing but problems, was at the dealer multiple times, 100% qualified to be a lemon law or buyback vehicle. What does this dude do? Not completely end his debt by lemon lawing the vehicle out and getting a check back. It's not a knock on the dealer. It goes to the manufacturer. But he's so dumb that he lets the dealer talk him into, check this out, why don't you trade that Ram in that's clearly a buyback / lemon law vehicle and pay us $1,700 a month. $1,700 a month for a friggin' Charger Daytona Scat Pack. $1,700. Now, he did the whole video of, oh, I saw those deals, but there were none available. Bullshit. You can go right down to Tobin right now and get a sign and drive on one of those. multiple Dodge dealers all over the country have deals on these Scat Packs because nobody's buying them. Now, what is he doing by paying $1,700 a month in a lease for 36 months? He's basically paying the dealers money. He's paying David Stanley, those scumbag, rotten, like worst dealing dealer in the Midwest, if you ask me. And I'm just going by the Google reviews. Go look it up. You ain't got to take my word. Just go read those friggin' reviews. And he thinks like they're doing him a favor. That goes towards intelligence, okay? That goes to saying that you're not that smart, guy. All right? And here's the thing. I don't get any pleasure in roasting an old friend here, but I have to keep it 100 too, though, right? And I have to keep it 100 in that you have to understand that when you do YouTube videos like this or talking about vehicles and stuff, you kind of have a responsibility to your audience. And when you're basically telling your audience that this was a great deal, this was a good thing, you might sucker some 19-year-old kid that was in a similar situation into doing the same thing. And that shit ain't cool at all. That said, that's not what this is about. I'm just going to, when you want to talk about put your money where your mouth is, evidently you're not that intelligent with money if you're dumb enough to sign a lease for 36 months for $1,700 when you could have got out of the negative equity if you just lemon lawed the damn truck. What a dumbass. So, now you're paying $1,700 and David Stanley's going to get all that extra money because you're dumb. Stupid. Just can't believe it. Anyways, so that happens. Now he's driving the car and he's running into some of the same issues that anybody else that's had this car has. And he's made the comments of, well, these people haven't drove. Who hasn't drove one? Who hasn't drove one? I know I've driven several. I did videos on the car. I compared it to this Tesla, which, by the way, there's no comparison between Tesla and the Charger EV Daytona. Period. End of story. Zero comparison. None. But we haven't drove one. We haven't done this. Not only have every single person that, I know he's alluding to, driven one and had one, Rich did. Rich took it up through the mountains with Demonology, did a bunch of racing. They saw issues with. One of them broke at the friggin' event. I've driven them. I've had the issues with Butter the Insider went to go buy one and they couldn't start it up at the dealer. Miss me with that shit. Miss me with the excuses. Miss me with the BS. I don't care. I do not care. But you cannot come for other people on YouTube and be like, well, you can't do that. Put your money where your mouth is. No. We call that intelligence, Randy. We're not stupid enough to pay $80,000 for a piece of shit. That's the difference. We're smart enough not to do that. Anywho's, I just wanted to address it. I know myself and Butter and OC were talking about this in the chat, and I was like, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to make a video on it. I know OC Motivator's probably making a video. I was like, I'm not going to make a video on it. And then I was like, I have to make a video on it because it just goes to show it's I don't want to say meat riding, but it's very close to meat riding. And I'm glad, look, I'm happy for him that he's getting views out of the car and the issues that he's had with it. And most likely, if he's smart, he'll have a couple of more issues with the Dodge Charger Daytona EV, and he'll be able to lemon law that car out if he's smart. Showing previous history, I can't say that's the case. Just saying. Look, I understand being cool with a dealer. I have friends that are dealers. There's people that I rock with. I talk about Tobin, all the time. I buy my Dodge products, the Black Ghost, my truck, this car, a bunch of other stuff from Tobin, right? So, I get it being cool. But that said, even if, you know, I follow Chop and Chop follows me and we're cool and we interact with each other on social media, that doesn't matter. If a dealership is doing bad stuff, whether or not I'm cool with the dealership or not, I'm still going to address the issue with the dealership. I'm not going to let shit just slide. Not work, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Just seeing all of this stuff that's happened with the Charger, I hope it works out for him. I do. But I did want to address that. You can't, like, you opened yourself up for this one, buddy. Like, when you talked about put your money where your mouth is, yeah, you've done that. You have 100% wasted $1,700 for the next 36 months because you didn't lemon law out your last truck. That was exceptionally stupid. You are correct. You did the damn thing. Congratulations. You played yourself. Yay. I hope the Charger works out for you. I do. I really do. I hope it works out for you. But in my opinion, I have a feeling that you're just going to clickbait the shit out of the car. You probably won't lemon law that one either. You'll let David Stanley tell you to grab your ankles and you'll get railed again on another vehicle. It doesn't surprise me. Again, goes to intelligence. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I didn't want to throw any subliminal shots. I just wanted to say it directly, so I did that. That no one's going to be able to be like, oh, he's talking about Ren. No, I said his name. I said his channel. It is what it is. But you're not going to be misdirecting or telling other people to make bad financial decisions because it works for you. And like I said, he's not going to be able to come over here in the comments or say anything on the internet about clout chasing. My channel's been outperforming his for several months. Period. End of story. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you're like me, as always, stay petty, my friends.
For the longest time.